Saibaba is the fifth reincarnation of Lord Dattatreya. Reincarnation of God himself. Shirdi Sai Baba helps always. In all ways. Spaba answers. The miracle here is that Shirdi Sai Baba will answer your questions. You can ask him for the solution to any of your problem and seek his guidance to proceed further. Shirdi Sai Baba gives the answer in crisp and clear terms, and to the point. Assume you are sitting in front of Shri Sai Baba and Baba is smiling at you. Think of your problem to be solved and seek Baba's help. Ask him to suggest you any one number between 1 to 720 as answer. A number will come up in your mind. Type that number in the answer box above and press Ask Baba button. That number equals Shirdi Sai Baba's answer. The number should be between 1 to 720 only. The answer comes up in the next page, where Shirdi Baba gives crisp and clear answer. Yes. It works like a miracle. The answers given by him and programmed into a numbering format for the numbers between 1 to 720. The answers given here are not towers and are not random either. Each number has different meanings and solutions, and only the answer most suitable to you shall come up in your mind. As the number to the answer. The first number that comes to your mind, please don't treat this as child's play. If you believe him, you will experience the solution to your problem. Millions have benefited from this Sai Baba miracle. Baba has helped millions of people by answering their question in this website. Although Sai Baba's origins are unknown, some indications exist that suggest that he was born not far from Shirdi. Historical researches into genealogies in Shirdi give support to the theory that Baba could have been born with the name Haribhayubhusari. Sai Baba was notorious for giving vague, misleading and contradictory replies to questions concerning his parentage and origins, brusquely stating the information was unimportant. He had reportedly stated to a close follower, Malspati, that he has been born of Brahmin parents in the village of Pathri and had been entrusted into the care of a fakir in his infancy. On another occasion, Baba reportedly said that the fakir's wife had left him in the care of a Hindu guru, Venkusa of Selu, and that he had stayed with Venkusa for 12 years as his disciple. This dichotomy has given rise to two major theories regarding Sai Baba's background, with the majority of writers supporting the Hindu background over the Islamic, while others combine both the theories, that Sai Baba was first brought up by a fakir and then by a guru. Sai Baba reportedly arrived at the village of Shirdi in the Ahmednagar district of Maharashtra, India, when he was about 16 years old. Although there is no agreement among biographers about the date of this event, it is generally accepted that Sai Baba stayed in Shirdi for 3 years, disappeared for a year and returned permanently around 1858, which posits a possible birth year of 1838. He led an ascetic life, sitting motionless under a neem tree and meditating while sitting in an asana. The Sai Satcharita recounts the reaction of the villagers. The people of the village were wonderstruck to see such a young lad practicing hard penance, not minding heat or cold. By day he associated with no one, by night he was afraid of nobody. His presence attracted the curiosity of the villagers and the religiously inclined such as Malspati, Upajagal and Kashinita regularly visited him, while others such as the village children considered him mad and threw stones at him. After some time he left the village, and it is unknown where he stayed at that time or what happened to him. However, there are some indications that he met with many saints and fakirs, and worked as a weaver. He claimed to have fought with the army of Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi during the Indian Rebellion of 1857. Shirdi Baba settled in Shirdi. In 1858 Sai Baba returned to Shirdi with Chanpatal's wedding procession. After alighting near the Khandoba temple, he was greeted with the words Jai Sai, welcome saint, by the temple priest Malspati. The name Sai stuck to him, and some time later he started being known as Saibaba. It was around this time that Baba adopted his famous style of dress, consisting of a knee-length one-piece robe, kafni, and a cloth cap. Rangur Bua, a devotee, testified that Saibaba was dressed like an athlete and sported long hair flowing down to his buttocks when he arrived in Shirdi, and that he never had his head shaved. It was only after Saibaba forfeited a wrestling match with one Mahant Ambali did he take the kafni and cloth cap, articles of typically Sufi clothing. This attire contributed to Saibaba's identification as a Muslim fakir, and was a reason for initial indifference Shirdi with disciples and hostility against him in a predominantly Hindu village. According to B.V. Narasimhaswamy, a posthumous follower who was widely praised as Saibaba's apostle, recorded that this attitude was prevalent even among some of his devotees in Shirdi even up to 1954. For 4 to 5 years Saibaba lived under a neem tree, and often wandered for long periods in the jungle in and around Shirdi. His manner was said to be withdrawn and uncommunicative as he undertook long periods of meditation. He was eventually persuaded to take up residence in an old and dilapidated masjid and lived a solitary life there, surviving by begging for alms and receiving itinerant Hindu or Muslim visitors. In the mosque he maintained a sacred fire which is referred to as a dhuni, from which he had the custom of giving sacred utti, to his guests before they left, and which was believed to have healing powers and protection from dangerous situations. At first he performed the function of a local hakim and treated the sick by application of utti. Saibaba also delivered spiritual teachings to his visitors, recommending the reading of sacred Hindu texts along with the Quran, especially insisting on the indispensability of the unbroken remembrance of God's name, dhikr, japa. He often expressed himself in a cryptic manner with the use of parables, symbols and allegories. He participated in religious festivals and was also in the habit of preparing food for his visitors, which he distributed to them as prasad. Saibaba's entertainment was dancing and singing religious songs. He enjoyed the songs of Kabir most. His behavior was sometimes uncouth and violent. After 1910 Saibaba's fame began to spread in Mumbai. Numerous people started visiting him, because they regarded him as a saint, or even an avatar, with the power of performing miracles. Saibaba took Mahasmati on October 15, 1918 at 2:30 p.m. He died on the lap of one of his devotees with hardly any belongings, and was buried in the Budiwada according to his wish. Later a mandir was built there known as the Samadhi Mandir. Teachings and practices of Shirdi Saibaba. In his personal practice, Saibaba observed worship procedures belonging to Hinduism and Islam. He shunned any kind of regular rituals but allowed the practice of namaz, chanting of al-Fatiha, and Quran readings at Muslim festival times. Occasionally reciting the al-Fatiha himself, Saibaba also enjoyed listening to Mluan Qawwali accompanied with the tabla and sarangi twice daily. He also wore clothing reminiscent of a Sufi fakir. Saibaba also opposed all sorts of persecutions on religious or caste background. In India at the times when he lived, religious intolerance and conflicts were common. Baba Saibaba of Shirdi was also an opponent of religious orthodoxy, both Hindu and Muslim. Although Saibaba himself led the life of an ascetic, he advised his followers to lead an ordinary family life. Saibaba encouraged his devotees to pray, chant God's name and read holy scriptures. He told Muslims to study the Quran and Hindus texts like the Ramayana, Vishnu Sahasranam, Bhagavad Gita, and commentaries to it, Yoga Vasistha. He advised his devotees and followers to lead a moral life, help others, treat them with love, and develop two important features of character: faith, shraddha, and patience, saburi. He also criticized atheism. In his teachings, Saibaba emphasized the importance of performing one's duties without attachment to earthly matters and being ever content regardless of the situation. Saibaba also interpreted the religious texts of both faiths. According to what the people who stayed with him said and wrote, he had a profound knowledge of them. He explained the meaning of the Hindu scriptures in the spirit of Advaita Vedanta. This was the character of his philosophy. It also had numerous elements of bhakti. The three main Hindu spiritual paths, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Karma Yoga, were visible in the teachings of Saibaba. Another example of the way he combined both faiths is the Hindu name he gave to his mosque, Dwarakamai. Saibaba said that God penetrates everything and lives in every being, and as well that God is the essence of each of them. He emphasized the complete oneness of God, which was very close to the Islamic Tawhid and the Hindu doctrine, for example of the Upanishads. Saibaba said that the world and all that the human may give is transient and only God and his gifts are eternal. Saibaba also emphasized the importance of devotion to God, bhakti, and surrender to his will. He also talked about the need of faith and devotion to one's spiritual preceptor, guru. He said that everyone was the soul and not the body. He advised his disciples and followers to overcome the negative features of character and develop the good ones. He taught them that all fate was determined by karma. Saibaba left no written works. His teachings were oral, typically short, pithy sayings rather than elaborate discourses. Saibaba would ask his followers for money, dakshina, which he would give away to the poor and other devotees the same day and spend the rest on matches. According to his followers, he did it in order to rid them of greed and material attachment. Saibaba encouraged charity and the importance of sharing with others. He said, "Unless there is some relationship or connection, nobody goes anywhere. If any men or creatures come to you, do not discourteously